So we just had a wonderful dinner. My good friend Blake and Enrique stopped by, and we just barbecued a couple steaks. And you know, it's so important to have a good circle of friends. And it was such an enjoyable evening that they came by. We were able to just kind of brainstorm a little bit, talk about what's going on, what's happening socially, what's happening with the economy. And these two guys are really awake, and we've been friends now for about a year.
Yes.
And it's always a great time. And so we had a few things that we wanted to discuss with all of you this evening. And Enrique, you're a CPA.
Yes.
And you had a couple observations that you wanted to talk about today with your clients.
Yes.
The first one, the buy now, pay later plan, and what you're seeing with some of your clients.
Yeah, so I had a client come in yesterday at the office, and he confided in me. We were doing taxes for a small business, and he confided in me that every time he needed this past year any type of supplies or materials for his business or work tools, he was constantly using something called Klarna and Affirm, and those types of services, according to him, they allow him to finance many times. So over the course of last year, he says that he opened about anywhere between 40 and 50 of these different buy now, pay later installment plans. So at one given time, he's constantly financing all these items that he cannot afford. And so he told me that he has about $25,000 open with all of these different payments. And I asked him if he's missed any of them, and he said no. So as of now, he's current, but he doesn't know how he's going to be able to pay all this off.
So there's obviously a danger with
Yes.
buy now, pay later.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty stunning. Even just in some of the purchases that I make online, you know, when I go to checkout, you know, they're hitting you with those ads and stuff. You know, buy now, pay later. You know, do 0%. You know, break it up over to 3 or 4 payments. So
I think it's
really
amazing
popular.
that people are using this just to go out to dinner, that they're financing a restaurant through a buy now, pay later plan, or their groceries. This is where we're at right now. So as the television tells us daily that the consumer's resilient and the stock market is breaking all records, take a look at what's really happening. Also, clients with Airbnbs. Again, this is a CPA right here. Been in business for many, many years. He's giving you an observation of what he's seeing in real life, in real time.
Yeah, so I did have another client last week. They also they had purchased an Airbnb here in Big Bear about 2-3 years ago, and they sunk all their savings into it. You know, these cabins in Big Bear, or these areas, they tend to need a lot of maintenance. They need a lot of repairs. Things happen, and so a lot of these people, when they buy these Airbnbs, sometimes they don't plan for stuff like that, and so if they have any savings, they pretty much just dump it all into the property because they eventually want to see a profit out of it. And yes, they can make some money, but at the end of the day, they just get deeper and deeper into debt. And like I said, they sink all their savings, and at the end of the day, they have nothing for retirement. These people are in danger of losing their Airbnb now. And just like that, you know, that's just one story. I've seen several people, you know, that they're pretty much in danger of losing their Airbnb, especially basically if they don't get enough rent. They're pretty much going to be at that point where they're not going to be able to afford the
And that's what
mortgage.
we were talking about, the rents.
The rents.
The last couple times I've been up in Big Bear, just looking at the availability and the vacancy rate of the short-term rentals up there, Airbnb and VRBO, 75% vacancy. So that's not a good number, especially if they don't get snow. It's going to be even worse. And that's really the big fear here, is if they cannot rent these homes out and they're highly leveraged, they're going to lose it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are going to have a hard time as this economy gets tougher and tougher for people. Well, a lot of people, I feel like they're just not spending as much, and so that's going to trickle down to a point where a lot of these people are not going to be able to fulfill the amount of money that's needed to be able to pay these mortgages, property taxes, higher insurance, maintenance, everything. You know, they just cannot afford it.
And speaking, talking a little bit about real estate here, you're seeing more clients who are realtors.
Yes.
You told me over dinner tonight that you have a client that The prior year he made $40,000 to $50,000, and last year he made $500.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, I actually
Can
ran
you
into that
expand on
today.
that?
Yeah, I ran into that today. I had a client come in, and you know, these past couple of years, he's always made, you know, pretty decent money in real estate. You know, closely hitting 6 figures at one point. And this past year, he says, I only made $500. And I looked at him with a straight face, and I said, really? He says, yeah, I didn't even get a 1099. He said. And but he definitely had the expenses there. All the expenses there needed to be able to run a real estate business, had a large loss. And luckily, you know, he has other sources of income, but that's not the case for a lot of realtors. A lot of realtors are dropping off.
I mean, it's a business where you can go from $100,000 a year to $10,000, or $250,000 to $10,000 overnight.
Yeah, and not only that, but I have several realtor clients that they've already told me that their income, their gross income, has dropped to nearly half of what it was the previous year. So a lot of it is dependent on the interest rates. A lot of it is dependent on the interest rates, and unfortunately, a lot of people are just holding off. There's just not a lot of refinances.
And we're going to get to Jake here in a minute, but we also spoke about how some of your clients, their incomes are being slashed. Their bank accounts are shrinking. Could you elaborate a little bit, expand a little bit on what you're seeing with that too?
Yes. So I have a lot of clients where I have a very rough idea as to what their average bank balances are year over year. During the health crisis, there was a lot of bank balances that just had a lot of money. People that are usually broke, they tend to have a lot of money in savings during that time. But recently I've noticed that these bank accounts have pretty much been deflated by now. A lot of that money that people had, excess money that they had during COVID or during the health crisis, is completely wiped out.
And you were also talking about another bill possibly that will be passed.
Yes.
That's going to pump in a bunch more money into the system.
Yes.
What is that?
Yeah. So as of right now, they're trying to pass another bill before tax season starts, and if that happens, the child tax credit that's currently $2,000. They want it to go up another $1,000, so that would bring it up to $3,000 per child, and that would only be to a select amount of families. Probably about 1/3 of families with children would probably qualify for this credit, and that would put more money back into the spending pool, and eventually all of this will cause a higher inflation.
Yeah, because all this money has to come from somewhere, right, Blake? And we talked about this, the money's got to come from somewhere. So it's going to be taxes, it's going to be money printing, and of course the money always rises to the very, very top. The people will get it, they will spend it quickly, and the corporations that make all this stuff in other countries, people will buy the electronics, the video games, the big screens, and all the other stuff made in China. The money will leave their pockets and rise to the top.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, we were discussing, essentially right now, credit card debt is at an all-time high, and savings is approaching all-time lows.
Yes.
So, you know, like we said, the government, they're going to print money, and they're going to hand it to people, and they're going to spend it.
Right.
And then that's going to ramp up prices. So, yeah.
So what do you think about like people right now go, I don't have any money. I don't have any money for a silver eagle or a coin. I don't have any money to buy emergency food. I don't have any money to prepare. Then they're going to get the money again if they get this type of stimulus, and they'll spend it, and they'll be right back where they started, and then it'll be even worse.
Yeah. People really need to sit down and take a look at what they're spending money on, and really go into those categories and say, what can I do to reduce the amount of money I'm putting out to certain things, unnecessary things.
Wants or needs.
Yeah, exactly.
And, there's a difference where you actually need something like food and preparations to, I want a new big screen TV, or I want a new car, or I want this. If you can afford it, great, write a check and buy it. But if you're depending on the system to give you money to buy this stuff, I mean, it's just a spiral that keeps repeating itself, and people just seem to get deeper and deeper and deeper into debt. And again, where the stuff that they buy isn't even made here. It's going to be made in other countries, so we'll continue to make other countries more rich, more wealthier, while the average person in America will spend the stimulus as fast as they get it, become more indebted, to the system and a bigger debt slave.
Yeah, yeah.
Hyperinflation, deflation. We wanted to talk about that today too. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, we were discussing that earlier, and it seems to me the best routes, that I see us going are not good ones. The main two that I see things happening, unfortunately, are either we continue with what we're doing, endless money printing, ramping up wars, passing out massive stimulus checks, and so on and so forth. And at some point, that is going to lead to hyperinflation if we keep on that path. The other path, the only other way that I think they can right the ship, so to speak, would be to crash everything and prices deflate across the board.
Right.
And then we at least can come back to some sense of normalcy. Both options are horrific. I mean, in both scenarios, no one is going to clearly win. So we just have to be ready for both of those.
Right. It's like pick your poison.
Yeah.
I do believe that a depression would be better than hyperinflation, especially with what is happening with the BRICS nations and the competition to the dollar. If we lose our world reserve status, I don't think we'll ever regain it. I think America will change forever. I think America will spiral into a third world country literally overnight. At least a depression, we could resuscitate our economy if we began to manufacture, build things, and make things. We have the potential to do that. We have the ability to do that if we so desire to. But hyperinflation to me would be the biggest danger, because we see what's happened all over the world with hyperinflation. Most countries never come back. And the threat now of the BRICS nations, the new money systems, the new money backed by gold, I think would guarantee the demise of the US dollar and our world reserve status and our standard of living in America. I think it would be extremely dangerous. But you talked earlier tonight over dinner, gold and silver. You're a big stacker. You're a believer in it. I am too. Enrique, I'm sure you are too. Go ahead, and if you want to elaborate a little bit why you believe in gold, why you believe in silver. And this isn't to sell anybody anything, but this is what you're doing. This is what I don't give financial advice. I don't tell people what to do. I stack this stuff. I put it away. I've been doing it for 11 years now. You do it for a reason, and so I just think it's important to own real things right now.
Yeah, extremely important to me. When people think about wealth, what does wealth really mean? A lot of people can look at their apps on their phone, the digits on the screen, and say, look at all this. But what is that really? Paper wealth? What happens if we go to hyperinflation? What happens if you have that money invested into certain things? And we talk about the other option, the crash.
Right.
In both of those options, it seems like you're going to lose.
Right.
So,
and Blake, I just interrupt. People look at the price of their home going up. That's really caused a huge wealth effect in America, because my home has gone up 100% in 3 years, which is completely artificial. But they don't realize how quickly the equity can disappear in a home. And most people right now, not most, but a lot of them are house poor, living paycheck to paycheck, trying to make that mortgage payment that they have for the next 30 years.
Right. Yeah, and we touched a little bit too today, all-time record highs in the S&P 500. Yes. So one would think, well, if that's the case, the economy is strong, consumer is strong, we're innovating, we're producing, we're manufacturing, things are generally well in the world to be at all-time highs in the history of our country. However, there's another side to that, and I don't think we're in that perfect
And we
picture.
talked about that too. Just look at people. They look sick, they look angry. Just look how people walk, how they drive, how they talk. People really look worried, they look concerned, they look tired. They don't look happy. And again, they don't look healthy. And you're in the health field industry, that's your background. What are you seeing out there as far as people's physical conditions? And look, we're not here to judge or criticize or make fun of anybody. I want everybody to get in the best shape possible. I want people to live a healthy life. I want people to have a long, healthy life and do great things. So people can change their life starting today, but go ahead.
Yeah, so currently we do have major problems. And we could talk for probably 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
But to condense it, everyone needs to look at their own personal situation, their family situation, and try and figure things out on a practical level. Whatever hole you're in, you can get out of. It just takes time, effort. Start reading, start learning, start taking some extra time that you would normally spend doing something else. And we all do it. We all have habits that we're like, yeah, I spend some time doing some things. Let me shift that focus to something, learning and applying to get healthier, Because right now, 2/3 of our country is obese or overweight. That's a major problem.
Huge problem.
I mean, if you go back 50, 75 years ago, it was a very tiny percentage.
Right.
Now it's huge.
And this is going to take a huge toll down the road on our healthcare system, which is already in shambles. People, dying of cancers and other disease related to obesity, all the terrible food that they're eating. So it's something that you could start adjusting and changing your life right now. Going to the gym for 20 or 30 minutes a day, 2, 3, 4 times a week. You gotta make a sacrifice, right? Like you gotta cut something out of your life to implement something else that might be more positive and healthy.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's so important just for mental health as well. When you work out, I mean, there's clinical studies showing just exerting some effort will help clear up your mind.
Right.
So if you're frustrated with everything that we're talking about, I mean, we share a collective frustration, but we also want to express our feelings, help people understand this, but then also apply healthy habits that can then put you in a better place mentally. And that's helped me a lot too.
A little workout goes a long way, relieving that stress, clearing your mind, making you think better. Just to change the topic here for a second, Enrique, you wanted to bring up another topic of side hustle and what you're seeing with some clients with their side hustles.
Yes, so I've run into a lot of issues too where I'll have clients come in, they'll bring in their W-2s, their regular income. But one of the things that I notice is that there's a lot of non-reporting of Zelle payments and Venmo. There's just a lot of people that are not reporting that, but I think one of the main reasons they're doing that is because that's the only way that they're able to survive. Without it, things would be a lot worse. You see a lot of people out there, they drive these fancy cars, they have these lifestyles, and yet a lot of people say, well, how do you afford it? Well, a lot of it is unreported income. So this is eventually gonna, the government's eventually gonna catch on to it.
CBDCs would change everything.
Yeah,
you're right. That would really affect a lot of people who are working the side hustles, working some cash under the table. I mean, they want to see every cent you make. And if they begin to integrate CBDCs into the system, your freedom, your financial freedom is done. And you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So I do see that a lot. I'm not the police. I'm not gonna, obviously I do tell people, hey, you do have to report your income. But at the end of the day, I know for a fact that they're just not telling me and they're not telling the government. There's a lot, like I said, that's the only way that people are able to afford their lifestyles is they have to make this extra money and not tell the government about it because it's not taxed. So any income that's not taxed is any income that's used to be able to afford these mortgages and rent and utilities and food and just everything in general, the insurances, everything that's gone up, 20, 30, 40% over the last 2-3 years. This is the only way that people are able to sustain themselves is by making income that, the government's not even aware about.
So you're in the health industry, you're a CPA. Am I out of my mind, am I nuts when I say things just look bad out there? The economy looks sick. I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel anytime soon. I think things are going to get much worse. I think people are really hurting. Or the people on the television telling me that the market's at all-time highs, everything's great, and that it's going to be a great year. Am I out of my mind here, or are people really hurting?
Yes, people are really hurting. You could see it. This past year, the 2023, I definitely did see a sentiment. You could see it across the board. There's just people are just not that doing that well. You could just see it in their faces.
Blake?
Yeah, there's a difference between the real economy and the economy that is portrayed on mainstream media and the talking heads, the government officials. I mean, there's a really big narrative for the people at the top to really tell us, things are great, you are doing well. So,
well, the top 10% own 93% of the wealth on Wall Street, and the top 1% own a majority of that 93%. So that is very, very true. A side note, this is it's so great to sit down and just talk with like-minded people, and I really recommend that all of you do the same thing, because I think it's so important to have good people in your circle, people who are awake, people who have skills, people who aren't drinking the Kool-Aid every day, people who are actually looking with their own eyes, listening with their own ears, and observing what is really, really happening. Because I think the only way you can prepare for what's coming, and nothing is going to stop what is coming. Let's all be clear. I think we can all agree nothing's going to stop what's coming. The wheels are in motion right now, and they are falling off the train. But everybody can do something in their own personal life or in their family to help kind of dampen the impact of what is about to hit us. Any comment on that? I mean, I just think that, you know, ignoring it and hoping it goes away and just not wanting to believe reality, I think that's the worst thing you could possibly do. I think it's a horrible strategy, a strategy that's going to guarantee that you lose here. And if you've got kids, I think you have a duty to make sure that they're going to be okay. But any comment on that? We'll wrap it up.
Well, you know, the thing is all these people that think that the government is just going to let them get away with not reporting or underreporting income, it's wrong. California has really, or at least just the state of California we're in, has really ramped up their enforcing requirements. And I really do think that in the next decade, it's going to get worse, especially with artificial intelligence coming into the map. That's going to cause a lot of controversy. It's going to make it easier if the government can implement artificial intelligence into the way that they can see how people's spending habits are. They're gonna shut down a lot of these people that are not reporting all their income.
And Blake, you were actually talking about how broke California is now and how they're going to be coming after anybody for money. So they're gonna want higher costs for permits, licenses. They're going to do more taxing. We'll see more borrowing. The teachers union just borrowed $300 million. So go ahead. I'm going to let you wrap it up. But what are your thoughts on this? Any forecast? And we'll leave it both of you to give us a forecast for 2024. But go ahead, Blake.
Yeah, we touched a little bit earlier on gold and silver and CBDCs, and that's one way that you can be outside of the system, because I think it's a matter of time, not a matter of, you know, if they're going to do it or not. But when they do start implementing these, and usually it's methodically, and sometimes it's after a crisis or a manufactured crisis, where they will then say, we have this new solution, it's going to be great and wonderful. But if you have some gold and silver, which is real money, which is outside of the system, that can be very useful in ways. And we know, well, someone might say, well, how do you know that it's going to be very valuable? Well, all of the central banks across the entire world have been buying gold hand over fist. And these people like wealth and they like power. And if they're doing that, that tells me something.
Right.
So, yes, I would like the system to change in many ways. But you have to do what the smartest people in the room are doing, and these people are doing that. Yeah. So if you have that, and everyone's different, you know, we all stack at different paces, but doing what you can to, I think, really look at what you're putting money out right now, and if you can take that and do a little bit smarter things. We all have to make sacrifices. Right. I mean,
so maybe not go out to the bar Friday night, maybe not go to the bar Saturday night, maybe you don't go to Vegas next weekend, right. Maybe you don't go to the movies, maybe you cut out, you know, going out to lunch every day and pack a lunch. There's always something you can cut out. Have a garage sale, sell some stuff sitting around that you're not using. Maybe cut a membership off from one of the garbage networks on TV. There's always something we could be cutting out and contributing more into our preparations. Yeah. Enrique.
Yeah, so 2024.
This is your forecast now.
Yes,
right?
Yes. So 2024, I believe that, you know, I really do think that the government's going to be able to somehow find a way to put more money into the economy. There's a very, very good chance that, you know, all these people are going to get the extra $1,000 for child tax credits. But not only that, but when it comes to mortgages and when it comes to the housing situation, from what I can see, is more than likely these housing prices, little by little, they should be coming down. So if there's anybody out there who's thinking of buying a home, don't rush into buying a home. Let the prices come down.
So as a CPA, if a client came in and saw you Monday and said, hey, Enrique, I'm thinking about buying a house, what do you think as my financial advisor?
You know, I would tell them, I say, I understand your frustration. I know you want to get into that home. Me personally, I would not be getting into a home right now here in California or anywhere in the U.S. I would wait and see, let these housing prices come down. There's no rush. More than likely, if you do end up buying the home, most of the money is going to go to interest anyway. So just chill, go do something else, save your money, and wait for these housing prices to come down to something that's that's more reasonable, you know, because right now it's incredibly high.
Yeah, I think it's the worst possible time to buy a house. Blake, we'll end with you. Your forecast for 2024. What do you see? Give us a nibble here.
Yeah, so one thing that I would bet on is inflation coming back. We saw it for a couple years ago, up till about a year or so ago, you know, shooting to the moon. Obviously underreported by the government, but you know, it's been cooling off, and everyone's, you know, waving the victory flag. We won. Inflation's coming down. But how is it coming down? What prices have really come down? Nothing has come down. Gas's prices are high. Energy costs are high. Going out to dinner, everything food related is high. But I think we might see another wave of inflation actually coming back at some point in 2024. So if someone said, are we going to end lower than we are now or higher, I believe we're going to end higher.
I have to agree with both of you. It's been a pleasure and honor. And again, it's so important. Surround yourselves with good people. People that are open-minded, people who are thinking outside of the box, people who see what's coming. This is, I mean, it's so inspiring. It's so healthy to just sit down with these guys and just talk. I know a lot of people out there think that, you know, oh, I'm the only one that thinks like this. My family thinks I'm nuts. My friends think I'm nuts. Nobody's thinking like I am. You're not alone. There's millions of people like you. Read the comments. There's a lot of people thinking just like you. Blake, Enrique, myself, there's 3 right there thinking just like you, preparing just like you. You're not alone. More people are beginning to wake up than ever. Yes, a majority are asleep, but you know what happened to sheep. But so many people are waking up and preparing. So I just want everybody to realize you're not alone. There are good people out there who are like-minded just like you, who are awake. And you got to find them, and these are the people you need to be really surrounding yourselves with. These are the people you sit down and break bread with. These are the people that you work out with. These are the people that you talk with on a daily basis, because it just reinforces my belief, and it reinforces Blake's belief and Enrique's belief. And a lot of people, that's all they need is just a little reinforcement. You know, that's it. You're not alone. And I just want to let you all know you're not alone. Keep on track. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep walking close to God. Keep preparing. Thank you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe. Any last words? Anybody want to say anything?
Everyone take care. Pleasure talking with you all tonight.
Yeah, and I guess if you guys need any help, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I can help you out with your tax situation.
Is there email or a number, anything?
Yeah, you can call me at 760-772-2007. I'm more than welcome to help you out if you have any questions.
That's amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you guys so much. It was a great dinner. Thanks for stopping by. We'll chill out for a little bit. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you get something out of it. You're not alone. God bless. Look forward to speaking with all of you very, very soon.